So many Warhammer fans will know what the Horus Heresy is. I mean, it is the reason why the Imperium is the way it is. But what if the ruinous powers of chaos actually had no involvement or no direct involvement within the heresy? How could things change? What would the heresy look like? Who would be on which side? Well, let's look into it. So I'm a huge fan of Warhammer 40k homebrews, especially the Horus Heresy homebrews. I actually believe that some of the fan creations are better than what GW puts out. So I started to work on my own, one where chaos would not play a major role within the heresy. So to set the stage, there are a few key changes within the lore. The first and potentially most crucial is what happens to Erda, the mother of the Primarchs. She still casts the Primarchs into the warp like she does in canon. Only this time the Emperor puts her and Li Tu on a ship, and he banishes her to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, forbidding her from ever returning to the Imperium and Terra. Other key changes include Fulgrim not finding the Layer Blade, although he is still incredibly arrogant. Something tells me we're never gonna fix that. And instead of snatching Angron away and leaving his gladiators to die, the Emperor arrives on the planet with Angron's legion to help him win the victory. And many of the gladiators who survived the battle are cybernetically enhanced to make them almost as strong as Astartes. All of this makes Angron extremely loyal to the Emperor, garnering him the nickname of the Emperor's Mad Dog, although no one is stupid enough to say it to his face. Konrad Curze's story is mostly the same, but his ability of foresight is far more unstable, with him almost continually seeing into the future, and he finds it extremely difficult to distinguish what is a vision and what is reality. Many of the other Primarch stories are relatively the same. The Council of Nicaea still goes ahead and the Emperor still rules against Magnus. The Emperor does everything within his power to prevent the existence of chaos from getting out, even to his sons. Horus is still injured by a Nurgle-like plague, but Erebus, who has actually not fallen to chaos in this timeline, is able to stabilize him for long enough to get him back to the Emperor, who is able to heal Horus. Magnus attempted to intervene and save Horus, but the Emperor actually forbade him from doing this. This was a source of great concern to both Magnus and other Primarchs, as they couldn't understand the Emperor's motives behind this. Of course, his actual motive is to hide the existence of chaos from his sons at all cost, so not even Horus truly knows what happened to him. While Horus is recovering, Dawn is made War Master of the Great Crusade. In this timeline, Dawn actually has a close bond with his brother Perturabo. Now at first the two Primarchs did not like each other, but the Emperor saw the benefits in having these two work closely together, so he would frequently have them sent on compliance campaigns together, and eventually after many campaigns the two would form a begrudging respect and even friendship for each other, so much so that Dawn actually made Perturabo his second in command when he became War Master, something which in all honesty kind of irked Perty a little bit, as he believed that he should be War Master in preference to his brother, and being made Dawn's second in command felt like a bit of an insult to Perturabo, but he was very good at hiding this. Anyway, as the two brothers were on a campaign against the Orc war boss Ugaka, they received a very strange call from their brother Magnus the Red. It was strange as the call was made on a secret channel. He claimed that he found something on the world of Senus 4 located deep in the Segmentum Obscurius, and that the two brothers had to come alone and tell no one. Confused and intrigued by this, both Perturabo and Dawn left their legions to mop up the Orcs, and they set off in a single ship to figure out what the hell was going on. But they were not alone. Konrad Curze, who had become extremely paranoid, was also listening into the conversation, and he set out for this world as well, believing that his brothers were hiding something from him. Upon arriving on the world, Magnus greeted his two welcome brothers in Dawn and Perturabo and his unwelcome brother in Konrad Curze together, and he told them to follow him to a secret room, and there, stepping out of the shadows, was Erda, mother of the Primarchs. The Primarchs were no fools, they recognized exactly who she was. Perturabo wanted to crush her skull with his iron fist, and Konrad Curze wanted to split her in half with his claws, but Magnus stood in their way, begging his brother brothers to listen to what their mother had to say. Dawn, who was also intrigued by what she had to say, stood with Magnus, and eventually the two calmed their brothers down. Erda told her sons all about chaos, all about the warp. She told them about how their father had lied about Horus's illness. Then she told them about the Emperor's great plan. That was that the Emperor was using the Primarchs as weapons, as his tools, and nothing more. They were merely a means to an end for the Emperor, and once they outlived their usefulness, he planned on murdering his sons. He would then achieve his final goal of becoming a warp god. That is why he hid the knowledge of the warp from his sons, as he didn't want them to achieve this power. The Primarchs were enraged by these accusations. They claimed that she was clearly a liar, but Erda was clever. She never once lost her composure. Every time one of the Primarchs attempted to make an argument against it, she would eloquently rebut their arguments. Over many days, Erda's charismatic nature plus the evidence that she had provided the Primarchs began to make the four Primarchs question their father. The Primarchs had already begun to doubt their father, and they knew he was hiding something from them, but they couldn't figure out what it was. Could this be it? They kept asking themselves. After over a week of debating this, the four left their mother to discuss what they had learned. "Can we really trust a word this witch says?" snapped Perturabo. Dawn answered, "I do not trust her, but something is not right with our father. He is hiding something from us, brothers, but as of yet I cannot say what it is. What do you say, Conrad?" I see so many paths ahead, and all but one of them leads to war. I can see our father ruling over a broken galaxy, trillions worshipping him as a god. "And where, pray tell, are we in this grand future?" Magnus asked. "Dead," snapped Conrad before he skulked off. "Our brother may be insane, but he can see into the future. Our deranged brother sees many things. That doesn't mean they're gonna come true." "That is true, but everything we've learned here, our brother's visions and our already existing doubts. Something is very wrong, my brothers. We need to address it." Regardless of this, the Primarchs knew they had to do something, as the absence of all four of them for so long would undoubtedly be noticed. It was decided the Primarchs would return to their fleets and move on Terra itself. There they would confront their father with these accusations. They believed that if they gave him no time to prepare, he would be forced to tell them the truth and they could finally put this matter to rest. But this is Warhammer we're talking about, and peaceful dialogue rarely works now, does it? As you could probably imagine, 4 Legion-sized fleets appearing in orbit above Holy Terra without warning caused a fair bit of concern. Rogel Dawn, Magnus the Red, Perturabo and Conrad Kurz, standing united as one, confronted their father with all of their grievances and accusations. The Emperor was taken completely by surprise by these accusations, and he was horrified by them, and for the first time in his very long life he was completely speechless, and he was absolutely enraged. "I am your father! After everything I've done for you, everything I've sacrificed for you, you would believe that witch over me. That is the only explanation that I owe any of you." The Emperor shut himself away within the Imperial Palace, refusing to have any contact with his 4 sons. In hindsight, this was probably the worst decision he could have made. The 4 Primarchs had no idea what to do now. Maybe, just maybe, they were wrong and that they should end this madness now. But what if they weren't wrong? What if they were right and this is what the Emperor wanted them to do? Such was their dilemma, but it would seem that fate would answer this question for them, as the Primarchs were interrupted with the news of more fleets arriving in the Sol system. The Ultramarines, led by Roberte Gilliman, the World Eaters, led by Angron, and the Emperor's Children, led by Fulgrim, had come. These were all the closest fleets to Terra, and the Emperor had secretly recalled them, and needless to say, they weren't happy with what was going on. "You traitorous dogs," snapped Angron. "Brothers, what is the meaning of this folly?" Gilliman demanded. Fulgrim remained strangely quiet throughout this whole exchange. The situation was starting to spiral out of anyone's control. 2 gargantuan fleets were now staring each other down in the skies above Terra, weapons fully charged. The entire Imperium watched on, holding its breath as everyone knew this could go one of two ways. But how exactly did it go? Well, you're gonna have to wait for the next episode. Sorry! If you've made it this far into the video, I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching. I've had an absolute blast making this fanfiction, and I can assure you, you're not gonna want to miss the next episode as things get very heated. But if you're enjoying this series and would like to see more episodes, then I have a very small request. Would you kindly hit that like button? It just helps me know that you are all in fact enjoying this series. But until next time, I've been the War Master's Tavern, and may you all spend a half hour in heaven before the devil knows you're dead.